Greetings, my dear brothers and sisters. Thank you once more for being here with us. We are going to talk about an important topic that concerns each and every one of us. By the way, we are happy to have a special guest who has traveled all over from the United States of America and who wants to contribute in this topic because she finds it very, very interesting. So welcome, Mme Synthia Sirri.
Thank you, Mr. Ngwar.
Thank you for accepting the invitation and also thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here.
You're welcome. So please, can you tell us more about you and what you do so that we can know you more?
Uh, I am a mindset change coach
Wow.
profession, or if you want to call it that.
Okay.
And I personally am a lover of life. I enjoy life. I enjoy growing. I enjoy seeing things change for the better. So I'm very, very excited about today's conversation, and I would be very thrilled to hear your thoughts and also share my thoughts on this topic because I believe we can only be better if we understand each other, understand the importance of changing and the importance of growth, and understand how our minds work.
Okay. So I think I'm very sure that I'm going to learn a lot. So thank you very much for, as I said, thank you once more for accepting the invitation. So today we are going to talk about our thoughts because we are the result. Our lifestyle is the result of our thoughts. What we think about impacts our life very much. But unfortunately, it is a topic that is not known by the mass. There are so many people who do not even know that what they think about impacts their lives. So what do you think about this topic, Madam
Oh,
Synthia?
I wasn't always somebody who thought, my mindset could shape my life. So I would use myself as a classical example of what you just said. So I believe this is as a part of the culture in which I was raised. We tend to believe that things just happen to you. So I grew up believing that, oh, my life is in the hands of God. As fate, yes, my life is in the hands of God. That's true. But then I also believe now in the fact that my thoughts also have the ability, or it's a very strong tool to help me shape what my life looks like. So initially growing up, I would only think of, or life is happening to me. I have no say in what happens. It's going to happen anyway. I cannot change it. My reality is just going to play out and I just have to accept it. But then growing, maturing has taught me a lot. I have learned to understand the power that I have as a human being, and that starts with my mind. So what I think of will shape how I act and how I carry myself and how I show up generally in the world. And how I show up will determine the opportunities that I insert myself in. So
Okay. Thank you very much. When did you actually realize that what you think can impact your life? Is it a course that you actually enrolled for that taught you that, or did you read some books that actually make you to be aware of this, or how did you know that what you think about can strongly impact your life?
I believe books had a part to play, and then finding role models and mentors and people that I actually admired their lives and looking up to them, having conversations with those people and seeing the way they think brought me to that awakening that, hey, all those people are doing is positioning themselves in a way that gives them the opportunities that they need to scale. The way they talk to themselves is different from the way I talk to myself. And that kind of changed everything for me. I started trying to tell myself who I wanted to become, tell myself the version of the story I want to hear, the version of the story I want to play out on the wall. And that kind of started changing a lot of stuff for me. Before, if, for example, when I just traveled, if somebody told me that I could one day have $1,000 in my bank account, that felt very impossible because, yeah, I'm sitting in this small room and all that can fit in that room is my bed. And I'm sharing with somebody, and just eating for that day is impossible. So when you tell me that I can have $1,000 in my account, that's possible, I cannot dream about it. I cannot think about it. But then having conversations with other people, hearing how people are turning their ideas into money, made me understand that what I need is not that money or that opportunity to create itself for me. It starts with how I see myself, what I tell myself, the story I believe about myself, what I say is possible for me will determine the actions that I take. So all of that started shaping my life for the better. I started trying to understand to what extent my thoughts can actually shape my life. When you say it to yourself, your mind picks it up, it believes it, and it's going to try to prove that theory to be true. So you will do everything within your power to make sure you test that theory to see if it works or not. So eventually one way or the other, you make yourself better by just thinking that you're better.
So what we actually think about is it actually happens. So when you say that, I really imagine, because most of us, Africa, if they operate our brain and try to understand, try to see what we think about, I'm quite sure some people commit suicide. Because on a daily basis, just imagine the way what we think about, even minus what we think about ourselves, what we think about others. Because you just told me that there is a time in your life where you seek for mentors, right? Unfortunately, we don't really believe in collective growth. I don't know why, because if you see the Chinese, the way they help one another, if you see the Indian, the way they help one another, even the Jews, the way they help one another, it is only the black community that I don't know why we don't have this. We don't have this ideology of collective growth. I don't know why. And what do you have to say about this fact that when a black man has succeeded, he will do everything possible to crush the other one, or when you have succeeded in climbing a ladder, you push the ladder so that everybody else will fall? What do you think about that, Madam Cynthia?
It's actually very sad to witness. You say it and it sounds like it's a myth, but unfortunately, it's the reality that we live in most African communities. And in my opinion, I feel like this is something that started way long. It's kind of rooted in who we are as a people. Like, think of growing. I believe there is this scarcity mindset where we think there's not enough for everyone. We just want to survive. We are bothered about myself. I want to eat. I want to make sure that I have enough for myself. And you think that somebody else having enough for themselves mean that you do not have enough for yourself. So you start being envious and jealous, and you start having trust issues, start trying to, take from people to make yourself better, keep everything for yourself just because you think sharing means that you would get to a place where you lack. And that's not true. And part of the reason why we act the way we act, in my opinion, is that you tend to believe that just because you have an opportunity to grow, bringing somebody else into that opportunity means that it will be taken away from you. That's not true.
Yeah,
Instead, if we start changing our minds to believe that, together we can make it. Bring what you have, I bring what we have, we share, and together we grow. Like, if you look out here in the Western world, most people grow their businesses through partnerships. But then if an African go out there and try to start a business, the first instinct for them is do it solo. They feel like bringing people into it automatically means that I'll have to share the profits, which means I won't have enough for myself, which
I've
is
made
not
that mistake.
which is not necessarily true. You and I can actually share ideas, grow something big that will actually be sustainable, and we both benefit from it. But then I guess that thing that is rooted in us, that we grow up just trying to survive, thinking of where's my next meal going to come from? If I'm sick, where's my hospital bill going to come from? Am I going to have income to, sustain myself through the week or so? Makes you start thinking like everything should be about me, and that spirit of we does not exist.
Yeah, that's really true, because a single hand cannot tie a bunch of broom. So one person can actually go faster, but together we can go farther. And unfortunately, that is what we are still to understand. So, okay, right now, what can we do to sensitize the crowd in understand in believing in collective growth? For example, there was a time where I was actually looking for a job, and some of my friends, blacks, then when I actually tried to see if I can apply in a place where they work, I saw fear in them. So I didn't understand why. It's not like they didn't want to, but I saw fear in them. So so without even knowing that if they help me to get my job, and maybe tomorrow I can either help them as well, or even help their own children. You see.
Mhm.
So this is why I think it is important we start believing in collective growth. We should start helping one another, because what goes around comes around. You can help someone today, and tomorrow he'll be the one to help you. Even if he cannot help you, maybe he will help. Let me tell you one story. There was once a time, a fictional story. There was one.
Are you sure it's fictional?
No, 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 no. I don't want some people to feel. Uh, there was once a time a father who just helped someone to pay his school fees. You just made a child, you help that child to pay that child's school fees. So many years later, that child grew up and became a successful person, created a giant company, and at what goes around comes around. He hired the child of the person who actually paid his school fees without even knowing. So they didn't even know themselves. It happened like that. They didn't even happen to know one another. But you see, but if he had not helped that child to go to school, maybe his son
Yeah.
wouldn't have been able to become who he was. You see, so that's why we're saying that it is important we help. We never know where our own help will come from. Maybe your own help will come from your own self, that you have to go around and multiply. You go around and multiply, then they come back in turns. You see.
Yeah.
So I think we really need to start helping one another. And unfortunately, we still find it difficult, and I still see it every single day. Just meet a black man outside and try even to ask a direction. At times, it's difficult. I don't know if you have witnessed.
Of course. Like you see somebody, they know something that can change your life. You ask them a question, hey, I saw you did this and I am very interested about it. And to a certain extent, you're even willing to offer money to pay to get that knowledge that they have, but they're not very forthcoming with it. There is just that mindset of, oh, if I share this with you and you get to the same level with me, you start competing with me, that means you succeed and I fail. That's just sometimes the problem. We don't like seeing each other succeed, and I don't understand why. So to me, I just think all of this starts with self-confidence. If you are very confident about who you are, you will not be shaken by the success of other people. So the conversations you have with yourself, if you know that I actually earned this, I brought myself to this level, you shouldn't be threatened by somebody else getting there. Telling yourself who you are, be confident in yourself, and also changing the conversations that we have in our communities. Because we have all these communities of, oh, you see African man, I know if you help African man. We think it's just something that we say, but then it sticks. It becomes the narrative, it becomes the default that our minds pick up. Like when you start talking to someone and you, oh, this is an African person, all those things of, oh, you know, help Cameroonian for our side. It's your subconscious, and that's how you're going to act without even knowing that that's how you're acting. So maybe changing the way we talk about ourselves, the way we talk about our community, the kind of conversations we have, the kind of things we applaud. Sometimes you'll see somebody celebrate a very, very negative behavior just because, say, for example, this man is at the top, they're very rich, and whatever they say is law. And you see Cameroonians or Africans in general clapping for that. Versus there is a very young guy with limited resources doing everything within his power to change the trajectory for most youth, to empower youth, to change their mindsets. We do not celebrate things like that. You do not share a video that you see a young man trying to encourage others to be better, but you're going to share that video of this very famous artist spilling nonsense on TV just because it's a strike. So I guess the kind of little habits that we grow over time, we have to start changing them one step at a time. And that, I believe, it's gonna start with individuals. Those that have been awakened, like you, should get your own awakened thoughts, so you should be awakened. Those that are awakened should take that step to, pour out themselves into others. You understand that this is a problem in our community, for example. You know that those people fear or believe in things that are not true. For example, saying that if I succeed and you succeed, or if I succeed, there's no more room for you to succeed in that same space. So I'm going to shut down every opening for you to get to that place where I am. That's not true. You know that, but sometimes those people who act this way do not know that. So I think it's a duty for those that have been awakened to pour themselves into others, show a different example, If people learn from the things that they see, right? What they surround themselves with. So be that change that they're looking for. If they see different, potentially they start thinking different and they're going to eventually act different.
Okay.
So creating a space where people can.
Okay, so now, to my understanding, the environment can also change the way we think. So now, for all these years that you've been to the United States, what can you say about the way people think in the Western world, and also the way people think in Africa?
Okay,
do you see some similarities, or you see a lot of gap in the way of thinking?
I would let me focus first on our African communities, right?
Okay. African communities in Africa, or African communities in
the diaspora in the US. I still see a lot of things or a lot of bad habits that we carried from Africa
And travel.
to the Western world, and we continue to implement those bad habits even when we know that they are not helping us in any way. We see better, we know better, but then because we are accustomed to doing things a certain way, our minds are stuck in it and we make no efforts to change that. I have witnessed people in workplaces where I've been where, for example, Ethiopians are the most supportive African community I have seen. If an African, if an Ethiopian person is working somewhere and they have a brother, a sister, a friend, so long as you're Ethiopian, they will do everything within their power to pull you, to make sure that you get into that space that they are and do better.
Which is very good.
Which is great. But then on the contrary, I have this example of a friend that, we used to live together, we work together. Most of the things I have become today, shout out to her. She is a go-getter. She pushes herself beyond limits. She sees an opportunity, she's going to dive in head first before she asks a question. So she tends to pull me along anywhere she's going. Even if I have doubts, I don't understand it yet, she's like, come along when you get there, ask the question. So she brought me to this workplace, right? We've been working here for a couple months, and then we have this fellow Cameroonian who comes out from Cameroon, fresh in the United States. And we did everything in our power, went to the boss that we worked for, gave in a good word for this girl, said everything we had to say to encourage that they hire her. So they did. But then when she got here, she was the first person going around bad-mouthing my friend and I to everybody and trying to make sure they see her as the better person. What's the reason for doing that? I would never understand it to this day.
That's very bad.
But then for her, in my mind, I'm like, okay, she feels like because I'm here, because you guys brought me, I don't want it to be like you guys are above me. I want to be above. So I'm going to do everything to make sure that I shine, that people see me in this light. And that's not okay. But unfortunately, those are things that we do. And then when people act like that, the default for most people is, oh, you know what? I will never bring another person to my workplace. But then we have to change that. Just because there is one bad cocoyam in the bag doesn't mean you're going to throw away the whole bag. If we keep focusing on, oh, because I got this experience, I'm not going to try again, that fills into the problem that we already have. But then I guess regardless of what happens, in my opinion, I'm going to try again. I'm going to see the next person that needs an opportunity that I know exists. I will bring you to the opportunity. What you do with it is up to you. But my hope is that you see what I've done and see that it's a good thing, and you do it for the next person and the next person. Because you being there doesn't determine how much I'm going to earn. It doesn't in any way. And me bringing you there doesn't determine how much you're going to earn. It's all about your capabilities and what you qualify for. So part of the problem is the way people see things, the way people want to dominate in every space that they get in. Just because you're not the superstar of that environment doesn't mean you're not doing good for yourself. Not just because people are not clapping for you doesn't mean you're not doing great. We should stop seeking validation on things that do not count.
Exactly.
Then we want a lot of negative praises. You want people to hail you even when you know you're going down a pit. They hail you to your grave.